We've got Mr. Venkataraman joining us on this Titan earnings. Mr. Venkataraman, good chatting with you again this quarter. Let's take a look at jewellery retail sales growth. It's at 13%, improving significantly, in fact, to 28% in January. Share with us whether or not this move is sustainable, what kind of growth we can expect in Q4.
Good morning. Wonderful to be talking to you, once again. The 28% of January is very, encouraging and satisfying. We have seen a month-on-month, quarter-on-quarter serial growth in any case, as things are improving on the one hand, and many of the initiatives that we are putting in are starting to fall, more and more into place. I'm not, it's a little difficult to comment about whether the 28% kind of level is sustainable over time. It's, a pretty high growth rate to comment, but we are very confident about all the, underlying factors. One is, of course, the market share opportunity, which is intrinsic to Tanishq, and the second is overall wallet share shifting in favor of weddings that we've been having a view about over the months. The third is generic preference of trusted brands in these times, and particularly in this industry. The fourth is multiple things that the division has put out in terms of omnichannel, remote shopping, which will continue to be an expectation from consumers in 21 as well. The fifth is the exceptional focus on safety that we have put in ever since May, and we continue to execute it to, the satisfaction of customers. So there is an all-round, both the underlying factors to the divisions and the brand's advantage, and of course the many things on execution that the division is putting in, which is giving us a lot of confidence about Q4 as well as FY22. About 28% holding, we will know only later.
Sure. Mr. Venkataraman, what are the footfalls, in the actual physical stores, in the large format stores? What are they looking like? Are consumers coming back? Because the sense we get is that that's still a bit slow. And is that affecting sales, or, in the sense vis-a-vis what you're seeing online?
No, we are certainly seeing the walk-ins improving. In fact, January we had a growth on the footfalls as well as the number of bills. So it was not just a growth in sales value, but a growth in the numbers of customers. And I guess it's a lot to do with, if you just reflect on what the headlines used to be, let's say 2 months back in all media about COVID, and what the headlines are today. You hardly see anything to do with COVID on the front page of a newspaper or in a television channel, or even in your own WhatsApp groups. So the COVID situation has dramatically altered in the country, and people are used to wearing masks and going about their lives, whether it is going to shops or going out, even starting to go to restaurants and movies and all that. I think that general confidence is starting to show up in retail as well. So I see this as now a sustainable trend, and that bodes well for all of us.
As I see your Q3 details, one can see that studded jewellery segment has seen a good recovery on a sequential basis. Would it be fair to say that the worst is behind? And if so, when is it that we can expect normalcy?
The worst is certainly behind us. As we started, in May, June, from whatever we thought about it, as well as what we understood from direct conversations with customers, the diamond jewelry was clearly seen as more discretionary in nature. Even though, by and large, at least with Tanishq, the exchange value of diamond jewelry is very, very attractive and pretty close to the gold jewelry exchange value. And therefore, it is a store of value as much as gold jewelry is. But the perception is not like that. So we did expect the recovery in diamond jewelry to take longer. It did take longer. But the sequential improvement was somewhat similar in diamond jewelry as well. I would certainly agree with you on your point about the worst, is over. We are seeing growth in diamond jewelry as well in January, but the devices that we need to employ, particularly in terms of offers and discounts to get diamond jewelry buyers back into the stores, are in play. So to that extent, it will take a little longer, perhaps, from a profitability recovery point of view. Our focus at the moment is more sales and sales recovery, getting customers' confidence back and getting them to come to the stores. Because these are very, very, unusual times, and therefore the emphasis is greater in, sales growth, cost control, and therefore the leverage from the sales growth may appear to be a little lower than in what in normal times could have been.
Yeah, absolutely. I get your point. These are unprecedented times for businesses such as yours. But can we expect margin recovery, and a steep one at that, going forward, given that you've got cost-cutting measures as well in place? We've seen a turnaround in eyewear, and as you just told me that the worst is behind for the studded jewellery segment.
No, we should certainly, see that in FY22, but we're just in the process of consolidating all our understanding about, all these dimensions of, sales, gross margin, costs, and thereafter profit, and how these things are playing out in each category. So I would be able to comment in concrete terms, on the Q4 earnings call post rather than at the moment. But that would certainly be our, objective. But more about it in concrete terms 3 months down the road.
Total sales have moved digital, something which you did not expect. Everybody is saying, look, I've got omnichannels, we are doing digital. How much of your total...
Sorry, could you speak a little louder? I'm unable to hear you well.
A second, sir. No, my question is that how much of your total sales have moved to digital completely?
Actually, considering that the jewelry business is, 3/4 of Titan Company, and particularly the Tanishq business is in the higher ticket, larger family group kind of purchase, pure online, is still very, very, very small. It's grown well, but we don't expect that, to become a big part of the business. But Omni, which is and new ways, which is for example, we were doing by July, August, we were doing about 100 crores of sales through video per month. But that's a lot of it is video, but the final purchase does happen in the store when the customer fixes up a time to come and actually pick up the one piece that she decided through a 45-minute to 1 hour video conversation with the salesperson. So it's not an online purchase, but it's a dramatically new way of selling. So therefore, similarly, an appointment shopping is a new way of selling. Endless aisle is, of course, digital. Pure online is digital. Omni is in between. So all the new ways have certainly lifted the share of, or rather brought down the share of what I would call a pure retail down. But given the nature of the jewelry business and its share to the total company, customers coming to the stores and buying will continue to remain upwards of 90%.
Now that gold restrictions are getting easy, duty on import of gold also has been brought down in this budget. Are you thinking on lines of getting your old gold schemes back? Because that, in a sense, was a huge cash cow for you.
In what way? Could you elaborate?
No, I mean, a couple of years ago, you did have schemes where you were offering, incentives for buyers where you would accept part payment if they were making jewelry purchases?
Actually, we continue to, the jewelry exchange and gold exchange has been a big part of Tanishq from day one. So that never stopped. And we continue to, it's in the ballpark of 40% of our total sales today, which is exchange of Tanishq jewelry itself and exchange of gold jewelry bought from other jewelers. It's about 40% and substantially up compared to, let's say, 3 or 4 years back. And it's a big way to grow. It's a big way to help customers refresh their jewelry and all that. And we offer a very transparent process as well as an excellent value on the old gold jewelry. There is nothing new that is happening in that program on account of the drop in the customs duty. But growth through exchange will continue to remain an important part of the brand strategy. I hope I've answered your question.
I'm going to ask you a question which is more about psychology. Yes, thank you very much. I was looking for explanation on that. Thank you very much. I want to understand the psychology of the millennial Indian now. The fact that today, if you look at habits are changing, and habits have changed largely because of our preference towards travel, our preference towards spending our money on gadgets, our preference towards experiential things. What is your understanding of the preference by a millennial buyer towards jewelry?
Actually, the jewelry is an intrinsic part of a personality of an individual, whatever be the age. Now, it is very possible that over a very long time, a millennial could look at the intrinsic value of jewelry and say, should I be spending 100,000 rupees on a pendant or a necklace? Would I rather spend 20,000 rupees on a necklace which is made of not precious stuff? That is hypothetically possible. But that would then be the responsibility of the jewelry industry, and particularly the precious jewelry industry, to reinforce why precious jewelry is special. And therefore, just like companies like De Beers have done over the last many decades world over, it would be the responsibility, the job of the jewelry industry to keep the interest in precious jewelry going. But jewelry itself, in its multiple forms, is so intrinsic to a woman's overall dressing up and feeling good that I don't see a millennial's interest in that going away at all, irrespective of experiences or gadgets coming into our lives. It's like saying how important are clothes. Like what do I feel when I stand in front of the mirror every morning after I've had my shower, after I've worn my the clothes which reflect the mood of the day? I need to wear the jewelry piece. I need to spray myself with that perfume. I need to pick up that bag which I love. I need to wear those shoes which make me feel good, smart, whatever it is. These are not going to go away just because some technology is part of our lives. Whether she will continue to buy precious jewelry as opposed to non-precious jewelry, that is the job of the industry to, for example, to get her boyfriend to kneel in front of her with a Tanishq ring and say, will you marry me? How is it any less an experience compared to going on a holiday, snorkeling somewhere? It is no less. In fact, it is even more powerful, more vivid an experience that she will cherish all her life, which means it will be the job of Tanishq to make sure that the boyfriend goes down on his knees only with a Tanishq ring or a CaratLane ring and not with some other ring. So there is a huge opportunity, if I describe it in this manner, from a millennial's point of view.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Mr. Venkataraman.
Thank you very much.
Sharing
Good
with
day.
us some of the ongoing developments.